Hi, buddy. How you doing? So we are
Right, mate.
live, everybody, and we're with Calum Reynolds, professional boxer. Calum Reynolds. Calum, how does
All
it
right,
feel to
everybody.
be a how does it feel to be a professional boxer?
Aye, it's a weird doing it still. Everybody thinks professional boxer, they just instantly think you like Tyson Fury, don't they? No the rest is.
I well don't know. I've seen better fights than Tyson Fury, mate. That's for
Aye,
sure.
you know what I mean, but
Definitely.
everybody just thinks you're boxer, you're
Yep.
up there.
Yep. I want to put this on the very start of the video because obviously people will not see the live, they'll see the later link. And I
Aye.
want to put this in the very start that everybody that Callum is seeking sponsorship, everybody, and it's very urgent. This is how these guys go forward. You know what I mean?
It's a
It can
massive
be
part of it.
it can be expensive for themselves and everything for there. So I might just give a wee shout out here to a couple of wee people here. I want to give a shout out to Cameron DL, Skip Pyatt. Always a good guy with everything. It was actually Cameron that was asking about you.
All right.
And we want to give a wee shout out also as well to One Call Collision Centre. You're only if you bang your motor or whatever, blah blah blah. This is the mob to do it.
Keep that
Absolutely.
number for my missus.
And yes, and Team MAIRSY personal training. That's myself. Blah blah blah. Be there. So everybody, we're starting to get the viewers coming in the new, and anybody that's want to sort of put ask Callum a question, ain't at all. Keep it clean, or we'll be blocking you. But we've always been all right so far, anyway. So maybe some of
I've
your mates
already
coming in
warned
for
a
them.
few. I've warned a few of the boys.
Aye, there's Sandy McCleary's come in for YouTube saying evening MAIRSY and
All right,
Callum.
Sandy, mate. How you
Do
doing?
you know Sandy? You know Sandy Callum?
I noticed the name straight away when it popped
Oh, but
up.
do you know Sandy? No.
No. I
I
don't
keep
think I
saying
know, mate. I'm
that boy
murdered.
trained me with me years ago in the Thai boxing, and I
That'll be
keep
how I
saying it.
know his name then.
He could have been a world champion, by the way, and he knows the
Aye.
story there. By the way, he knows the story. He knows it. But aye. So anybody that's wanting to ask Callum a wee question regarding boxing or this or that or blah blah blah, come on
Anything you
board,
want,
and
aye.
we'll definitely entertain you for there. Callum, what got you into the combat sports?
So it started off with the kickboxing when I was 5, and it was just doing it. I think it was just to get out the house for my mum and my dad because I was wild. I think
Right.
that's just how it started. Just running, causing riot as a way, and they put me in. It was Rivals Gym. It was up in Allen at the time. That was when would that have been? 21 years ago. And that was just it. And for kickboxing wise, I just had a natural talent for it.
Yep.
Yep. Loved it. Fought around the world. It was just brilliant. It was something nobody else done. That everybody played football, I played football myself, but I was the kickboxer that everybody knew. You know what I mean?
I was never into football. Never done it for me.
There's
Never
a
done it for
reason.
me at
There's
all.
a reason I'm getting punched in the face and not playing football now.
I just never done it for me at all. But so the kickboxing side, you're obviously right into the kickboxing. That's got you going. I see you've won a few titles as well. What's your titles in the kickboxing?
The kickboxing, I won everything there was to win in the amateur level. So I won.
Right.
I think I won my first Scottish title when I was 8, and then I won my first world title when I was 9. There was a quick jump.
Right, good.
And just every weight category, all the way up, I was just picking. It was just picking titles up as I went, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Not even so much about the titles. It was the experience. We had a great team up at Rivals, a great team with Scotland, and we just went all around the world, all around Britain, and it was brilliant. It's something that I've always said, if I had like kids, I would like them to experience.
I've always said that I would like to get involved in some sort of combat sport, 100%. You know, near buts.
It makes you. You need some sort of discipline.
So what? So you've obviously been through the ranks with kickboxing, this and that, but why all of a sudden boxing?
The kickboxing, I kind of hit a stage where it's people juggle between whether they're going to go amateur or going to go pro, and then I had a couple of wee boxing fights, and the legs were starting to go a bit because even though I was only 22, I'd 20 year getting or whatever 18 year get kicked in the legs. I was starting to get injuries and stuff.
Yep.
And I just started picking up a wee couple of boxing fights, and then we just took it for there, just stumbled upon it, really.
Yep.
It was
What
never
would you?
I was always kickboxing. That was always going to be the plan, and then just here am I.
Now, here's a question I get asked. Folk will say, what was the hardest, the boxing or the Thai boxing? What would you say was the hardest between the two of them?
I think to know the level I'm at, and even just the amateur boxing boys, how fit they are, was a shock to me. The boys they are proper athletes. I'm not saying the kickboxing boys won they, but I would say that the boxers take it. Amateur boxers they take it serious. The kickboxing, I would say, physical wise for the fighting was tougher because obviously you get kicked and stuff as well on top of it. But
Yep.
I've always thought I was fit until I jumped in amateur boxing, and even now, obviously, I'm not fit, but there's some good athletes there.
Yep.
I really,
I found the boxing sparring could have been at times was harder than the Thai boxing sparring sometimes. Sometimes, you know what I mean?
Busier. It's
Aye.
because
Yep.
they're fitter.
Yep.
It was a struggle to get used to because
Aye.
the kickboxing probably the same as the Thai boxing. You
Yep.
slow yourself down, you time yourself, you pick your. When I went into the amateur boxing, it was just 100 mile an hour. I was like,
Yep.
I couldn't keep up with it to start with.
So what was your first amateur fight like then?
The first one was all right. So basically I applied for my pro card, and then they didn't really accept my kickboxing record, so they wanted me to do amateur fights. So I went, just entered the Westerns, where it was Jack Parvin up at the Shire. Said to Jack, listen, I need to get these fights. Jack's like, aye, get in and we'll get it done. My first fight was fine. Didn't struggle at all. The first fight, I gave the boy a count and stuff as well. Then the final, I got a boy for Fordwood, who was, I think he was the Scottish champion, if I'm right in saying that, at the weight below. And that's when I came up like somebody who was of a high level.
Right.
And they just put a bit of pace on me. I still won the fight, but it was a scrappy, terrible, horrible fight. It was a bad clash, but that was when I first kind of went, right, you need to get. I came out with a win, and that's when I won the Westerns. But I was like, right, you need to up it and you get fitter because these boys aren't messing about.
But you still feel as though the kickboxing was brought a bit of foundation in? Element of.
Aye, because I knew, even though that was a scrappy fight and I wasn't anywhere near as fit as I was meant to be, I still knew how to scrape myself through for a win. Which, if I just threw myself in at deep end with no experience, I would have been, I wouldn't have been in there.
Right. So what gave you the drive for pros? What made you decide no amateurs, pros? I'm not really a big fan of that because by the way, I actually hear that quite a lot. A lot of amateurs, and they say, I don't want to be doing a million amateur fights before I turn pro. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it.
It's everybody says it. I wanted to make some money when I was fighting because I fought all my life, and I thought it's about time I try and make a career out of this, and that was the rush to go pro. The massive thing was I absolutely hated every second of the amateur training, sparring, fighting. It was a fast pace that I wasn't used to, and in my opinion, it didn't matter. The way I see the amateur boxing, it's first to the punch. If you punch first and punch third, you're going to win the fight. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just that it was a style I wasn't used to, and I couldn't. It wasn't for me.
See, when you fought in the amateurs, were you the 10-point must system or the electronic scoring?
The what system? Sorry.
When you fought in the amateurs, was it the 10-point must system or the electronic scoring?
It wasn't electronic scoring. No, it's
right.
No, that my way anyway.
I feel as though a lot of guys get robbed by that. You know that? I fought under a 10-point must system. I thought that was fair for everybody. If somebody wants to come in and comment on this, but I thought it was fair.
I was always used to. Obviously, the kickbox the same way. Obviously, the pros knew that is that. I think that's the way you should score a fight. Actually, having judges using their eyes.
Yep.
The point system,
Aye.
you know yourself, I could throw a flurry of 4 at you, you're going to lump me one big in back. The way I see it is, if I'm like, I've always scored a fight or seen a fight as he's throwing me a punches, but he's putting him on the back foot. He's being the aggressor. He's putting it to him. He might be taking a couple extra, shouldn't he be? But I think watching a fight, you can see that the 10-point score system should be the way forward.
Aye. What type of fighter would you say you're?
So the kickboxing, I was very back foot, pick my shots, move. And I still try to keep that in the boxing, but I've obviously not got the range of the legs anymore. And it turns out I'm not as rangy with the horns as I thought.
Sandy says 10-8, 10-7, or even 10-10 rounds are the fairest. You put me through judging, MAIRSY, and it's the fairest system. Aye, Sandy's an official Thai boxing judge. He's an official Thai. Yes, he's an official.
It's definitely the best system.
An official judge.
Right. I've got it. If everything was done by a computer scoring points, it's going to go wrong, and somebody's going to start pointing the finger at some point, isn't they?
Yep. So, would you say you were an aggressive fighter, stand-up boxer? What you on the boxing side there?
I'm training now with Andrew McCartney and Lark. You know Andrew for the IFL TV.
Aye. That's aye.
So I'm in with Andrew now, and he's totally. I would say he's totally changed my style. I'm very inside, try to get in about it now. Whereas before I was still trying to keep the range that was the working for me, truthfully. It happened in I lost my last fight doing that, just no number of things, but mainly no being the aggressor, which I'm new. That is the goal.
So you prefer being the aggressor?
I do know that
I think they're great. I think they're great fights. Aye. I think they're great fights. Being the aggressor is great fights. I've always liked them. I've always been. It's like the style of boxing I always like is always American, Latino, Mexican.
In the pocket.
The rolling, the hooking, the uppercutting, and I was never a lover of the left on. You know,
that was my kind of boxing style. But now that I always thought I could mix it and be the aggressor, but now I've properly been taught how we fight inside. It's a different ballgame, but I'm really enjoying it. It's the way it should be.
Do you think there's a difference between being an amateur boxer and a pro boxer?
Yes. It's you need to be a lot more smart and calculated with your shots. You need to pick them. You need to be aware of the way Andrew does it brilliant, but you need to be 1 and 2 steps ahead of your opponent. You need certain shots you throw, there's only so many shots your opponent can come back with. It's always about being a step ahead, and I feel like the amateur fighters, obviously elite level, different story, the boys that are doing Commonwealth Games and stuff, but a lot of the amateurs, it's just 1-2 left hook, 1-2 left hook, 1-2 left hook, and they're just throwing it back. And it's
as Roberto Duran says, all legends all start out with the same canvas. We all start with the same canvas, simple as that.
Well, I'm 26 and I've been fighting for 21 years and I've just learned a new style.
Yep, that's good.
In the past couple of months.
I was going to say to you there. Oh, sorry, I went out my head there. That's a down. I went out my head there. So you're talking about all the years of fighting, and what age are you, Calum?
26.
26. You say that? Sorry, 26. Nigel Benn didn't start boxing till he was 27. Nigel Benn didn't start boxing till he was 27, but he had kickboxing before it. He was a kickboxing champion before it. I don't know if you know that. Nigel Benn.
I didn't know that actually. No,
he was a kickboxer.
Dillian White was a kickboxer as well, wasn't he?
That's right. Aye, that's right. So, who's your favourite fighter, and who would you say that you'd like to model yourself on?
Liking myself on.
Who would you like to say? I like to model myself quite like him.
Oh, I don't know. It's a weird one because I'm in a new style.
No, but just in general, like I'd quite like to fight like him. Down the line.
My favourite fighter was Prince Naz, even though I probably got the tail end of his career, but even though he's watching his stuff, I love him.
Right. I'm a big fight collector. Oh my God, I've got already fights, right? But even before the internet. Now, this is something that caused a bit of controversy with me on TikTok last year.
Right.
I believe firmly that Naz, pound for pound, far better than Muhammad Ali. Pound for pound.
I don't know.
Moving, lateral, offense, defense, rolling, hitting on the defense. Boom. Far better than Ali.
I
Far
would
better.
say moving Muhammad Ali was what, 6'4", and he
Aye,
could move.
roughly, aye.
He could move like Prince Naz
Yep.
could move. Do you know what I mean? I think
Yep.
that takes a bit more skill when you're the big boys.
Aye. No, I was never an Ali fan, mate. Never an Ali fan at all. Didn't rate him. Didn't rate him. So I get.
all I've seen what's on the internet. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Aye, I've seen other fights. I've seen other fights. Oh God, start to finish for there. But Naz is your favourite fighter. Do you think you would ever try a couple of moves out?
I used to in the kickboxing. I used to think I was flashy.
Right. But
I
you
just
think you
love
would get
everything. It's a confidence that it's. Even though you're going in the ring and get punched in the face and things happen in the ring, it's just, it takes a certain, if you're walking in there, if you're going in the ring in a flying carpet and you believe in your skills, you know what I mean?
Aye, definitely, definitely. How did it feel as well? Like just amateur boxing here, gone for like the 3 rounds and then fighting more rounds in the pros?
I was always a 5-round fighter in the kickboxing. I actually enjoy the longer rounds, and possibly a wee bit of a slow starter.
Right.
Whereas the amateur boxing, I just had to get into it because you can't, a 3-round fight, you can't throw the first round away. You're up against it.
I know. I've always used to say that to guys I trained years ago before. I used to say to them, "You're a 5-round fighter. You know, they're throwing the first and couple of rounds away a wee bit, and then 3, 4, and 5, they're just getting right into it. Absolutely getting right into
I
it.
like it 5-round because you can see what your opponent's working in the first round. You can read them a bit.
Yep. So what's a typical training session for you then in the pros, Calum? What's a typical week's training session?
Well, I've got do a bit of everything. So we've got my obviously my boxing with Andrew. We'll get an out the pads and on the bags. We'll get rounds in every week, whether it's just with the amateur boys or other pros. Do you know what I mean? We've got a good stable up at MXP. There's Stephen Newns, who's obviously pro as well, who's a elite amateur.
I used to spar with his dad.
Did you? Well, his dad's up coaching as well.
Is he? I used to spar with his dad when he came down to Forcewood, aye. Big Stevie Newns, aye.
Aye, Stephen's up. The both of them are up there. They both take the amateur club up there. Blackall, the MXP amateur club. So we've got Stephen, and we've got, I don't know if you know Fred Hanaway, who's he's a good amateur. I'm sure I'm right in saying this. I'm sure Fred won the British, and he's only 19, and he's just But we've got a good stable of boys up there. So getting sparring in with the boys, other amateur boys in the club as well. Do you know what I mean? You've got Stephen as a pro, plenty of pads. I've got my strength and conditioning coach who's in that same gym, Calibre Coaching. Calum's one of the boys. He's like a mate now. Do you know what I mean? I hate the strength and conditioning. I hate lifting weights. I despise it. But if he was such a nice guy, that's the reason I go. And then just cardio on your own. At the end of the day, you can go in and pads and stuff, but you still need to go out, and nobody's going to force you to go out running or go on a bike. You can only do that yourself.
Yep.
And it's important, you know that yourself. If you're not running, it's the best way to get fit and lose weight.
You're a good runner. Do you like your running? I used to love running. I like your running.
I've not got the knees for it, but I know I need to.
Because I was just telling somebody the other day there, when I used to go out running, training for the fights, that was the times you'll not remember this probably. And that was the old Walkman with the cassette and the batteries in it that would just go.
I know where that is, but it was a bit before me.
But before your time, you would run about a mile, and next thing you'd hear the batteries go. Whoa, you're like, oh no, I've got miles to go. And it was the cassette. You've got see when I saw the iPod, I was all chuffed. I was like, click, click, click. I was all chuffed for there. But Ah, brilliant. So, who is your management then? Is your management Andrew? Is that, or is
No,
he
so
your head coach?
he's head coach Sam Kinnick. He's
Oh, your mechanic. Sorry, I knew
I'm
that.
with
I saw
Kinnick.
that. Forgot. That's my fault
He's
there. Right?
manager and promoter of. I'm on his shows,
Yep.
obviously. If
Yep.
opportunities come up to possibly
Aye.
get on other shows, it'll just go.
Always hear good things about Kinnock, mate. Always see a lot of their stuff. Always hear good things. They've been about for a long time, you know.
He's
Always been about for a long time.
he knows his stuff, Sam, and
Yep. Been
he
about for a
knows how
long
he's
time.
got good fighters. Like you've got the likes of Nathaniel Collins and that, and he manages them well. Do you know what I mean? Like he knows what's right for you and what's maybe too much for you and stuff. So
Oh,
I
for a long
I do
time.
enjoy being with him.
Yep. So, who's your next fight? When is your next fight?
8th of March and the double
Oh, that's
belt.
quick. That's quick.
I know, but I've been training.
Aye,
So
that's good. That's quick. That's good. So, do you know anything about this guy?
he's from Glasgow. Donny Mac. I know who he is. Do you know what I mean? I know all of him and I know what he's going to bring. Quite slick and isn't fear to get in about it, which suits me. Do you know?
There's the man on board now, Scott Dixon. Scott
Cheers,
Super
Scott.
Dixon. Scott's some man, by the way. Brilliant guy, Scott, without a doubt, man. The pleasure of doing a wee chat with him a few years ago there. Scott's the man, definitely. But so, where do you hope to go? Where do you hope to? What's your goal? What's your end goal in boxing?
I would love to be a British champion, but I also know I'm no 20-year-old coming in this game. I'm a bit older. I work full time. I'm no blind, you know what I mean? And I'm no daft. I'd love to be a British champion, but I would also just love to win some titles. I just like fighting, mate. I just
Yep.
If it happens, then it'll be the best achievement, obviously. But at the minute, I've had 2 fights. I lost my last fight to a good journeyman. I was sitting a bit heavy and stuff. I shouldn't be in the weight category I was in at the time. My head was up a wee bit with other stuff. I never done what I was meant to do. There was a lot of things going in it, but see, at the end of the day, Robbie Chapman came in and he bet me. So I'm not going to sit and say I want to be world champion because at the end of the day, I've got a lot to prove now. And nobody's going to do it for you, so you can do it myself.
So we mentioned at the very start of this show there, in case a few folk missed it, sponsorship is very important. What's the situation with how does sponsorship help you?
Spotlights, it can be in many different ways because obviously I work full time, which my work sponsor me, Stuart's Construction sponsor me, which brilliant. They've just bought me a new fight kit and stuff. You need sponsorship helps you with your training costs. Obviously, if I need to take time off work to maybe go down south or whatever, sparring or like for weigh-ins and stuff, do you know what I mean? You've got also my medicals is the one right now that I'm working on. A brain scans for hundreds and hundreds of pounds. Do you know what I mean?
I was going to ask you that there. Is it expensive for these scans and stuff like that? Is it expensive?
£700 roughly. I think it could possibly be dearer. But that's just for the scans. You obviously need to get your medicals, your bloods, your eyes, which aren't expensive, but they're wee costs that add up. And then on top of it, you need to get your sparring kit. You know, you sell it. It's like I could have my gloves could burst tomorrow, and I need to go buy enough gloves, and nobody's going to just hand them to you for free. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. So at the end of the day, somebody coming in and sponsoring you, that would be a logo in the shorts, things like that. Any wee interviews and mention them stuff, you know.
Well, I've got tops that my cornermen wear. I mean, I actually have one kicking you about here tonight. Actually, 2 seconds.
Aye, when you go.
So there we go. So I'm getting a couple of new taps made up because I've got some new sponsors coming on board. But that's the back of them.
Right, okay.
So I've got Bri J, that's my missus' makeup. Home Farm Delights, Kev and that they've sponsored me for a wee while. Shipshape MAIRSY, which is Andy Wilson, he was my wee brother's football coach. He sponsored me for the start, and then also All Prepped Up, which do my prep meals there on Hollytown. Cracking people, and their food's brilliant. I've also got my work, Stuart's Construction there, a new sponsor for this fight, and I've also just landed the Fresh Fruit Shop. He also sponsors Wheelers Connolly, but he's got a shop in Uddingston. I think he's got a shop in Glasgow, and he also does the farmers market. So he just came on board yesterday. So
if you getting a sponsorship in, would you be looking for that annually, as long as your professional career type thing?
Everybody's got
the reason I'm saying that, sorry for butting in there, mate. The reason I'm saying it is because I know some folk will be asking me that, and some folk might be listening to this. Want a better idea, sponsoring you.
Everybody's got a different idea on what a sponsor is. So some folk maybe go, right, I'll buy you your sparring kit, or I'll buy you your fight kit one time thing. So we'll just say I've got a fight coming up, somebody will, I'll buy your shots for this fight, and that's where it ends. Some folk will maybe do, right, I'll sponsor you for this camp, I'll sponsor you for this fight. Some folk will go, right, I'll be a full-time sponsor, maybe 6 monthly, yearly.
Right.
It's all
which would be ideal to be annually, wouldn't it? That would be ideal.
I've got a wee mix of both going, which it's totally up to what a sponsor. At the end of the day,
say somebody wanted your waistband at the front, what would you charge for that?
So
they wanted your waistband. What would you charge for that? We're just putting this out there, everybody, because the guy's looking for a bit of help, and we're just putting it out there. So
your waistband is used. The waistband's your name. That's your money maker. I like to have a clean kit, but I also would never say, somebody wants to, it's hard to put a price on it, everybody's different. I would say I love, like, I've got my white suit, my white shorts. I love it nice and clean, crisp. No, I don't like seeing somebody that you can't even see their shorts for as many logos.
Right.
No saying I wouldn't do it. Of course I would do it. Of course I would do it. If somebody's going to pay me money, do you know? I just don't really have a price for it. £200.
Right.
Just say,
I thought you would have said higher than that.
Well, I'm not
you'd have said higher than that.
Sell myself out of the job either.
But it's a thing that everybody, it's watching the now. We get good views here, and people will say, "Well, what's you looking for, or this or that?" It's good for them to watch this video, because it goes on even after the live anyway, and it's a big part of your journey.
Wear a sponsor, regardless of whether you want to be on the kit or no. You're on the t-shirts and the jumpers that myself and the cornerman are wearing. You're going to be on social media. So, like, the kit that I'm buying, the kit that I've got, like, made for this fight, was from my work, Stuart's. They pay for it, their logo only, kind of thing. But my other kit that my missus got me out for my debut, that's open. There's spaces available for that, and I'll alter the kits. But if Stuart's are going to buy me a kit, it's only right that it's Stuart's kit. If you get me. Do you know what? Well,
I'm going to be honest with you, that's loyalty, mate, because most folk I see, they've got a million sponsors on their shorts day. So that's loyalty.
So you need, these people are, yourself, you couldn't do, I couldn't do this boxing game if I was paying for everything myself. I couldn't, at the start, don't get me wrong, when you start bigger fights, more money, different ball game then, but you need the sponsors, so you also need to be, they looking after you, you need to look after them. It's the way the world works.
Well, I've got Eddie and Neil here. Great guy, knew him for years, best pals with my son, but always had his head screwed on. Great to see him doing good. He deserves everything that comes his way. Thanks very much, Sonny. See, comments like that, by the way, innit? It makes everything worthwhile.
Eddie's brilliant. Eddie shares everything. I was brilliant pals with his boy, Big Ryan. Me and Big Ryan are still good pals.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Eddie.
Known Eddie for years. He grew up with my Uncle Keith and that. So, cheers, Eddie. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant. So, as I said there, we were chatting about the sponsors because I think sponsors is very, very important. We were talking at the very start there. And I think, as I say, I'm going to repeat that. I think it's a great loyalty you've got that one person gets these shorts. And because I know a few folk who's done pro through the years and all that, and they've had it jam-packed, and you said that you would do that and blah, blah, blah for there. But anybody watching this, by the way, the sponsorship is definitely important for these guys, without a doubt. Whether they're working or whether they're not working, it still costs you good and day and day and day for there. So your next fight is going to be in Glasgow. Whereabouts in Glasgow?
The Doubletree by Hilton.
Doubletree by Hilton. And what date's that going to be?
Saturday the 8th of March.
Saturday the 8th of March.
It's a good card. The headliner is Marcus Sutherland, I think, is a WBC Youth International he's fighting for. So it's a good fight, good title win.
Right. And can people get tickets off yourself? Can they, or they just go straight to Sam Kynock?
They could,
but or would you prefer them getting to yourself?
Directly to me, aye.
Aye, that's good. We know the business talk here. We know that, aye. So it's good. So anybody wanting tickets for that, they're always a great night. Anybody's never been to a boxing show, professional, whatever, definitely come through. If you can't get a hold of Calum Reynolds, and you know me, come to me and I will put you onto Calum Reynolds. Aye. So don't buy your tickets anywhere else, everybody. See, I don't know what I'm looking on this screen. This screen's out of place. Don't buy your tickets anywhere else. Buy them off of Calum. It's as simple as that. And it's always a great night. It's always a great night. So listen, we're just going to stop you there. It's going to be a short and sweet interview, mate. That's us been on for over 30 minutes there. But we'll go to Justy where you are, where you're going. And I'd love to do this again, by the way. I'd love to do it maybe after the fight for there, and I'm really hoping that you get a few people on board regarding the sponsorship thing, mate, because I know it's very, very important. I really do. And there's a few people I'll be pushing my end that we spoke about for there.
Aye.
And
it's
hope
one of these things. I think a lot of people, especially if they're new business, maybe don't know how the sponsorship works out. Then sometimes they'll maybe say, for instance, I'm needing X, Y, and Z. A lot of the times it can be quite a big lump sum. It can scare folk, but once you get the gist of how the sponsorship works and stuff, and you start becoming, do you know what I mean? You realise what you're
remember all these big businesses. It's tax deductible.
Aye, that's
tax deductible. Anybody's got a big business out there, they know the score with the HMRC, blah blah blah, so they know the score for there. But listen, we're going to be watching your journey with interest, Calum, definitely. And I appreciate you doing this because without doing stuff like this, I don't exist. So I really love doing all this. And it's good for yourself. On the line, I'd like to come to your gym if possible, watch you training, film you training and stuff like that, and get interviews with you for there. That would be amazing as well. So I think we'd like to see that,
I'll speak to Andrew and we could definitely set that up.
That would be amazing, mate, and it'd be good to see you in action, stuff like that for there. But what we'll do is we'll be in touch with you after the show in March, and you will have a good result for us. It will be it will be a good result. Aye, definitely.
It'll be the win. Oh,
aye. Well, listen, mate, I want to thank you very much for coming. Sorry.
The heat's back in the game compared to last fight.
Listen, you know that. So listen, I want to thank everybody, by the way, it's been tuning in. Oh, wait a minute. We need to bring this one in. We've got Roddy Graham. Top lad, deserves to do well. We just caught you at the last minute there, Roddy. Cheers, mate.
Roddy's number one fan.
Roddy's number one fan. There you go. We'll put you back up there, Roddy.
There we
Top
go.
lad, deserves to do well.
Family in Turkey years ago, and they've never missed a fight. They've never missed an event. They were at me and my missus' engagement parties. Brilliant family.
Brilliant.
Aye, Roddy, Amanda, Neve, Sonny Podge, they're all brilliant.
That's what you need round about you. That's what you need round about you. 100%, mate. You need all that round about you.
Aye. You need it.
Definitely. But we're going to come back after your fight. And we hope to get to the gym and film you training and stuff like that for there, if it's okay with yourself and your team. And we would do another wee one for there. And
we'll do that.
And hopefully that people's been watching this, because I know we'll be mentioning this thing about sponsorship, but it's very, very important to these guys, everybody. Very, very important to them. If anybody can help them, it'd be much appreciated. If you don't know Calum, please come through me and I will put you onto Calum for there.
Aye.
Definitely.
No, I appreciate it, honestly. I do. I appreciate it.
That's great. Excellent. So, Calum, thank you very much for coming on, mate. And I will see you. Well, I'll speak to you in between that then anyway, People come my way. Still got a wee couple of details there. And we'll be looking forward to seeing how your fight goes in March for there. We'll do that.
Aye.
All right, mate.
Right,
Thanks very much. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Right.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.